welcome. This is Marks here. We are into Unconditional Surrender. It is currently the beginning of August 1940. The weather across the entirety of Europe is fair currently. The Axis invasion of France is well underway here. Just as a recap, it's been a slow slog through the Low Countries here. It took a few months. There were some bad weather turns where the Germans were trying to advance through Netherlands and Belgium. They did succeed. They took a month to kind of get reorganized and then invaded France through Belgium. Made some advances currently. I think it's been about 2 or 3 months that they've been advancing into France. Germany took over Paris a couple months ago, and the French have counterattacked into Paris many times. Last turn they did withdraw over the Marne River, just so they could get a little bit of extra defensive bonus, using the river as a bonus. Also, this unit here, the 10th French Army in Calais, last turn took a hit from a German assault and failed to retreat. I was thinking maybe I should do a naval withdrawal just so they could escape to fight another day, but the French are low on funds right now, so I decided that it was best to save my cash to make sure that these air units are fighting ready. They're not exactly at full sorties, obviously, but just any kind of air support at all, I think, has been really holding off the Germans not so badly. Same thing with the British. I mean, they've got a lot more cash on hand, but they've got 2 air units up here in Great Britain, here and here, that they've been using to help out with the defense. We have the United Kingdom's British Expeditionary Force here in Le Havre, and as well the WDF, I'm not sure what it stands for, something Defense Force, landed itself in the port of Brest last turn, and they are going to be hopefully helping out with the defense of France here. By the way, that WDF unit transferred out of Alexandria last turn, leaving it undefended. That is pretty much all of the British units available, except for garrisons in Malta and Gibraltar, but I think they're going to stay there for now. Just a quick political recap as well. Sweden has joined the Axis here, and they assisted in the invasion of Norway. They played, they did 75% of the work, I'd say. They took over Narvik here, Trondheim, and also the city, or the port of Bergen. The Wehrmacht has sent a unit up into Stavanger there, and also there is a Wehrmacht air unit there, based there, so that we could get some strategic warfare bonuses against the Western faction. Politically, on the Eastern Front, quite a bit has happened as far as what's an advantage for the USSR here. They have had Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Karelia all ceded to it, and up there in Finland right now, sitting with a pro-Axis leaning Finland. The Germans up to this point have been playing a political game of throwing a wrench at the Western and Soviet factions. So far there hasn't been a lot of political gains on any side. So, like I said, Finland is currently pro-Axis. Romania is pro-Axis. And finally, the Spanish are pro-Western. It would be very interesting if Spain joined the Western Allies at this point. We're going to carry on with the turn. We are currently in the declare war phase. Now, the Axis, I don't think, can see any strategic advantage in declaring war on anyone. Let's look at the Balkans here. I mean, they did declare war on Hungary and swept through and took it over. That's why Romania has a pro-Axis marker. Yugoslavia, we want their armies to join us. the Axis hasn't been playing the political game too much. They haven't been really trying to sway any countries to join them. So that's kind of a disadvantage. We'll see what happens at the end of this turn. But yeah, Yugoslavia, also Italy on the edge here. They were pro-Western, and I'm using the rule where Italy can't join the Western faction or any other faction besides the Axis faction. Other than that, in Scandinavia, the Wehrmacht can't really see an advantage to invading Finland or declaring war on Finland. So obviously, they're already pro-Axis. We want them to join us. So at the end of the term, when we get to the diplomatic phase, we'll see just what happens. So now we're doing the economy phase. Currently, the Wehrmacht has 1 factory loss, and the Western faction has taken some hits on the strategic warfare, and they are currently at 3 factories lost. So that currently puts the Wehrmacht here, they're under here. Their currently factory count is 14 minus their 1 factory lost. This puts them at 13, giving them a production of 26. I think Sweden's at 1. Now, does Germany want to send Sweden any money this turn? I don't think so. The Swedish army are all dug in all over Norway and their home country, Sweden. So I think we'll just leave that there. Okay, so Britain is at 9 factories, minus 3 is 6. Plus they have the Commonwealth trade active, putting them back up to 9, making their production 18. And France is down to 6 factories due to the loss of what factories have been lost in the invasion of France. And finally, the Soviets, they are currently at 28 production. And now for strategic warfare, the Germans have an air unit up here in the port of Bergen, which is in Sea Zone 3. That's going to give them a bonus to their strategic warfare. And while we're at it, the Germans are going to use their submarines to affect, even worse, the Western faction's strategic war roles. So this is going to be, hopefully, well, I don't want to take sides, but it's going to be pretty bad for the Western faction. Let's just say that. As expected, the Western faction loses a factory, and the submarines of the Germans are going to be returning 6 months later, which will be in February 1941. So for strategic movement, I did notice last turn that the Germans were not fulfilling their Eastern Front home defense. So we got to transfer a field unit from the Western Front. I think we're going to put him, I don't know where right now. Let's think, you know what, I'm just going to put him in Warsaw, or I don't want to put them too close to the Soviet border. I don't want to seem threatening at this point. Let's just put him back here in Lodz. And so that's the strategic movement phase for the Germans. All right, it's the beginning of the German operations phase. We're going to activate the 6th Infantry Army here to push into Calais and try and push this unit out. And we're going to commit a sortie from the 2nd Luftwaffe, and I think the British UK Fighter Command is going to lend their assistance, assisting the French defenders from London. So as a result of the air battle, both air units get to participate in the battle in Calais. So the German attack into Calais caused a defender retreat result. They have nowhere to go. They are surrounded and they are eliminated. The German unit decides to advance into Calais, taking control and putting the French national will down 3, 1 for the loss of the unit and 2 for the loss of the city. They are now currently at national will of 9. All right, this 6 Army's unit's activation is going to end. They've got no room to move here. Pretty cramped here at the front. But at least they have taken over Calais, at least as far as you're rooting for the Germans. Anyway, we're going to activate these 2 units currently, and we'll do this one here, basically activate him, and he is going to assault into this hex here where we have the Alps army and a French air unit. We're going to try and dislodge them. We're going to activate this guy as well, and we're going to perform an assault on that hex over the Marne River. And I think the Germans are going to activate this German Luftwaffe unit to assist in the attack. And under here is the French 1st Air Force. They are going to participate in the battle. Let's work out some numbers. They're going to, well, I'll just quickly describe the process. We're going to do an air battle between the 2 air units. Depending on the result of that, there's going to be sorties added. And then we're going to resolve the ground combat. So I'm not going to do each process bit by bit. I'm just going to show you the result. Both air units are participating in this battle. No side took a extra loss or anything. Now, the German assault across the Marne fails to make a dent in the French defenses. These units are finished with their activation. Alright, next we are going to activate that German 1st Panzer Army here. And they are going to try and push this 6th unit back. And we're going to use, I think, this air wing from Rotterdam. And I think the British air unit up in, outside of Southampton is going to assist in the defense. Both those air units are going to participate in the attack. Well, I guess they're not both participating in the attack. One is participating in the attack, the other is participating in the defense on this hex here. Now, for the result of the tank assault, the hearty defense of the French unit managed to stave off the attack of the 1st Panzer Army, so we're just going to activate them once again. We're down to 6 movement points now, and man, I don't even think this is in range of this air unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not, so we're not going to get any air support for the German panzers. But I think we'll activate this guy for defense in this hex. Let's see how this goes. Once again, this unit managed to stave off the attack. Now, they're not stalling the attack. They are just, the battle is going on. There's no advances either way. The attack isn't completely stalled. I think we're just going to go ahead and activate them again. We've still got 4 movement points. Attacking into open terrain here is cheap, especially with the nice weather. So let's commit. We're going to run out of defense or air defense units here. I think we'll commit this guy as to participate in the defense of the hex. Once again, there's no air support for the Germans just because this guy is out of range. So let's see what happens. No effect once again. The German panzers cannot break through this 6th French army. But they're not being stalled, so we still have some more movement points. We're going to keep going because the more we do, we're going to waste all of their air defense. And then pretty soon, we still got this unit to activate, and plus we have this guy over here. I don't think we're going to activate too many on the Maginot Line here. So no worries about the German army there. This is pretty much the center of our assault. Of our spearhead anyway, or whatever the heck you want to call that. So once those units, if they can't bust through, we'll get as far as we can and see, but we're going to go ahead and activate him. I think we got a couple more activations, provided that we still are not being stalled. So I think we'll use this British air unit for defense this time. And finally, the attacker was stalled, so that unit's activation is done. That was a lot of attacks, but they failed to get anything done. So we still have this panzer unit and only 2 air wings available for defense. So I think we're going to go into this hex again. This 6th Army has to get pushed back as far as the Germans are concerned. So we'll commit this French unit. Hello. Oh wow, lucky. Ha! And we'll see how that goes. Finally, this French unit is pushed back. Do I advance and then keep pushing? Because that's a clear space. That's a clear space. But I do have to attack over the river for each of those. Let me think about this for a second. You know what the Germans are going to do? They're going to not advance into the hex here, but they are going to turn their attack south into and attack the 7th French Army here. Why is that? Because they do not have any air defense left for any French air wings, and as well they're out of range of this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they can't participate in the battle. That's going to give us a better die rule, or a better modifier versus this French unit. Let's see how that goes. Now the river did provide some defensive help for the French, but they were pushed back. Let's push them back. Ooh man, they're starting to split the line here. Which way? This way or this way? I think we're gonna go... Ooh, let me think for a second. Well, I think for now we're just going to throw it in here. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm just, thinking about the overall situation. This turn, I mean, especially, we didn't really do a lot. I mean, all we did was dislodge a unit out of this hex and out of this hex. Ooh, you get back there. Now, this guy still has some activation points. He still has, well, that was over a river, that last attack, so that is... He has 5 movement points left. But I mean, overall situation, I mean, we're not really making any gains here. And as the Germans, I just haven't felt like I want to take too many risks. So we're going to have to do something, right? Because winter is coming, and I feel like if the weather turns... that's going to give the French and the English even better defensive capabilities, as well. Some upgraded French units are coming as well. We haven't used the French tank marker yet this turn either. So they still have that in their back pocket. Now, I mean, do we want to continue pushing like kind of southwest here? There's only one more sortie available for air defense. But let's just think, if this guy gets through, say he pushes this guy back, is that what we want to do? I definitely don't want to leave Paris open under any circumstances. I'll probably move this guy after this guy moves. So, you know what, for now, I think we are going to push over the Marne. And, oh yeah, we can kind of, these guys are clear hex. Anytime I've got a river, or no river, I mean, that's always a better situation tactically. So I think we're going to attack this hex here. They go down 2 more. They've got 3 more movement points. Let's see the result of the attack. Ouch, that was the worst result possible for the French. They get a defender eliminated. They're going to drop a national will. They're down to 8. And because this air unit is here, they're going to have to withdraw or rebase. I think we're going to send them just down here to the west of Vichy. And the German Panzer is definitely advancing into this hex. Now, they still have 3 movement points. Do we want to try and blast this guy as well? You know, we have this guy in range 2. This could really put the nail in the coffin. There is no air defense. Let's go ahead and do it. That's 2 movement points. We're going to activate this air unit in Aachen. Aachen. I don't know. Forget my accent, okay? Never mind. Aachen. They're participating in the attack on the French 2nd Army. This could be pretty bad. Well, the French units managed not to get destroyed. They are just withdrawing back into Dijon. And the German Panzer, I think they're going to remain there. Yeah, we're just going to deactivate them now currently. Now we're going to activate this guy for 1 production point, and he's just going to move over into Paris to keep that under German control. Now we've kind of reorganized our line somewhat after the fall of Calais. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. Yep. After the fall of Calais, we've kind of reformed our line here. The French, they're not really willing to withdraw out of the Maginot Forts, but considering the situation, I've been mulling over it. We might need those units to pull back. We're going to lose some cities, but our national will as France is currently at 8. And the only way we can start getting that back is to retake some cities, but I don't really think we're in the position to do so. Oh, I forgot about that tank unit. I could have used it. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It wouldn't have stalled the German attack. Lucky, I guess. I mean, the Germans were unlucky. I mean, they had air support and a tank unit for a massive die modifier. And the French only have a +1 for being French, so +6 versus a +1, and the Germans still managed to do no damage. I mean, pushing them back is fine and everything, but we're definitely seeing a opening in the French line, and how to exploit it and what to do with it, I'm not sure. We don't have a lot of extra units to push through, and this is the trouble, isn't it? Because with the amount of forces we have as the Germans, I just don't feel like we're having those sweeping, huge tactical victories that happened in in real history. Our little alternate history here is playing it a little differently, and the defense of France is going not so badly. I mean, not so badly meaning it's still a tough fight, and the French have been falling back, so maybe it's not as great as I think it is. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to be activating any more German units this turn, just quickly looking over the map. So I think we are going to pass on the German operations phase. Checking supply quickly, it looks like everyone's fine. So let's move on to the Western operations phase. This could be interesting. Now we've got some tough decisions to make as the Western faction. Definitely want to move this guy up so he can assist in the defense, but right here where the line is, I mean, if we advance over the sign, maybe to do an assault. I mean, I have been making assaults on Paris, but then we leave ourselves open here and here, especially here. It's a weak spot, just because of the open terrain and no river crossings that are going to affect the German counterattack, right? So anyway, as far as a counterattack is concerned, do I want to do that right now, or do I want to... I'm actually thinking of abandoning the Maginot line seriously, and just reforming my line here. We're going to lose... There's a city, I think it's Strasbourg. Yeah. There's a city there, Strasbourg. We're going to lose that. And if we could reform our line here from Dijon, we could take advantage of these hills. And then plus we've got the river crossing here. So thinking about reforming my line some way there, rather than making a counterattack this turn. I just don't think we're in the position to do that, especially as all of our air units, except for this guy here, are currently full sorties. Nobody can activate. Withdrawal from the Maginot line. Let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with this guy in Dijon. We're going to activate him. Now, the French don't have a lot of cash either. They have 12 currently, and they really want to save some for their rebuilding their air units. So let's just go slowly here. One activation here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, kind of curve around the zone of control of this German Panzer Army. Then we're going to activate this guy here, withdrawing from Strasbourg. Or should I just leave a guy? No, you know what? Well, I mean, let's think about it more. If we leave this, I mean, the longer we can delay, the better, right? Because all of these bloody units are going to be coming up here. That's 5 German infantry armies that we're going to be allowing into France, but what to do, man? All right, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to keep this guy in Strasbourg. He's going to hold it as long as he can. I mean, the Germans still have to assault this fort, so it's not going to be an easy go of it anyway. But they're out of range of any air support or anything like that. So their best defense is being in the fort. But we are going to withdraw the northern leg of the Maginot Line here. We're going to withdraw our armies back to, well, you'll see. We'll activate this guy. They're down to 10 production points here. They're going to go 1... let me switch. I like this one better. 1, 2, and I think here 3. Now this guy, now they are down to 9. We've got to watch our production points very carefully. We want to keep 6. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. He's going to park himself in Dijon. And then now this guy, where are you? They're at 8 production points now. They are withdrawing back to these hills in the Alps. So river 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that's what we're going to do. Totally. Is this what happened in real history? I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm not like a huge, master study of the history of World War II. I know the basics. But as far as the abandonment of the Maginot Line, did that really happen? I don't know. In our little alternate history, yes, they did. And I mulled over it for some time. Because that's a lot of Germans. And yeah. Anyway, for now, I think that's good. We've reformed our line here. We've got Dijon covered. Are there any other cities back here? No. So we're going to be good as long as we're not taking French losses for national will anyway. And I mean, Vichy, Lyon, all these cities, I mean, it's scary. Everywhere I look, it's scary. France is going to fall. I mean, there's no stopping it. Is there? Can we do it? If we can hold out till winter, it's going to be a different story. Anyway, let us think about what we're going to do with those British forces and also on the northern part of the country here. I think we might withdraw a French unit back over here to Vichy as a reserve and then bring up the WDF. Yeah, well, let's do that. So 1 more production points for France. Let's see where he can go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's do that. He's going to head into Vichy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. And they're going to defend their reserves. And then we're going to activate 2 activation points for this guy. He is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold up here. And yeah. Oy. So definitely different than real history. I mean, we did have the pocket at Calais where that unit was trapped, which kind of was like a Dunkirk situation, but only for the French unit. The Germans didn't do the pocket thing that they did in the real history. They just kind of pushed their way through, which I can see was maybe not the best tactical decision. And yeah, Yeah, it wasn't. And then plus, this is an additional unit from the Mediterranean. It came from Alexandria, which puts more British units than I think were there in the real history. But I think I should stop referring to real history, and we'll start referring it to as the alternate history of World War II. Anywho, I think that's the end of the Western's activation. They're going to have better sorties up here with this guy, so that's going to help out a lot too. Now, what do we do with, under here are German convoy and the German home fleet. That actually should be here. Yeah. Wait, yeah, no. Yeah, those guys are been supplying the British units. I think, well, they gotta stay. They gotta stay. But the home fleet, does it have to stay, or should I just send it back? I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Yeah, and those French didn't use their tank marker either. I'm just thinking, well, before I'm done with this activation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we want to try? Nah, not by themselves. That'd be suicide. Just kind of like going into no man's land here. That wouldn't be good. So, there. I think that's it for the activation of the Western faction. Now we're on to the Soviet faction's operation phase, and they're pretty much going to pass. They don't have a lot that they want to do. They've got a good border set up, and currently not too worried about any German invaders, so we're just going to pass on that. Alright, for the replacements phase, first thing the Axis are going to replace a couple sorties on each of these units. And they are now currently at 4 combat sorties. Now the French, they're going to do the same thing down here. These air units are the only thing that have been saving their butts. Up here in England as well, 2 of those, this guy gets up to 3 sorties, and that's the highest anyone's been since the beginning of this invasion. And these guys are up to 4. Now, I don't think there's any more units I want to replenish at this point. I mean, the shorties up in Cherbourg there for the British shipping, I think we're good with it. And I don't really want to spend any more money. They still have 10 production points, though. You know what? Why not? How much to replace a convoy is 3. So we're going to go ahead and go down to 7 production points, and we're going to give this guy 0 sorties. He's going to... Actually, I missed a spot, didn't I? I was supposed to supply those 2. So he should be still at 2. What happens is, well, let's say we do 2 convoys with this guy to supply these 2, and then we replace them back up to 2. So I think that's it for replacements. Alright, so there's no units to upgrade, so we'll skip right to mobilization phase, and the only unit available is this Russian, what is it, 30th Army. It costs only $1 to put a full-strength ground unit. We're going to put him up there in Vyborg in the newly ceded Karelia province. Yeah, it was just ceded last turn, so... Now we're into the diplomatic phase for the Axis faction. And as you can see, we have a couple of political successes and an area seized marker left in the holding box, and I'll just show you the cup. There is a lot of no events in there. But for the Germans, there's a political success and a pro-Axis marker, which makes me want to give it a shot. There is a political failure, though. But the Germans haven't drawn from the cup in some time, so they want to see how they fare on the world stage. The European stage, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. And what did we pull? No event. All right. Now for the Western faction, just a review again. There is 1 political success, a political failure, plenty of no events, and there is that area seized. So that's actually kind of useless right now because all areas have been seized by the USSR. Do they want to throw in another political success? I mean, right now currently they've got Spain as pro-Western, but we have, Finland and Romania as pro-Axis. Those are on the Eastern Front, so they're not exactly a threat to the Western Front. You know what? We're going to do it, and we're going to throw political success in there. Take a risk. And now for the Soviets. Quick look at what our odds are here. Mix up, and political failure. Uh-oh. Well, it seems that the breakdown in diplomatic talks between Finland and the USSR has finally crumbled due to the area of Karelia being overtaken by Soviet forces. So, as an official act, Finland will join the Axis and thereby putting all of Scandinavia under Axis control, Finland, Norway, and Sweden. Well then, so how are we going to set up? First we'll set up our productions, and then we have 4 units to set up here. We're going to set up a garrison in Helsinki, I believe. And then we're going to set up one of our bigger armies right next to the Soviet 30th Army. And then I think we'll put another full army right here poised to enter into Karelia at a moment's notice. And then I think we'll just protect all our northern borders on... Oh wait, that's been ceded. So here. All of the borders between the USSR and Finland are covered now. There you go. Finland joins the Axis. Now finally we enter into the end of turn phase. We're going to advance into September of 1940. The German faction, or the Germans, I should say, are going to get their surface action token back. And that's all of the unit/tokens that are going to re-enter next turn. And finally, the French units that were eliminated are being rebuilt and will next turn be available for mobilization. So there you have it, one full turn of Unconditional Surrender. The year is 1940 and the month was August. So the Germans managed to advance into France just a little bit more. They managed to claim Calais, and they also pushed back some French forces back over the, the Seine River. And as well, the Maginot Line has been abandoned in the east of France. The French decided that it was best to withdraw their forces and set up a line protecting Dijon and hopefully stalling the German advance once again. If they can hold out till winter, I believe, we're going to have some upgraded units appearing, which are going to help the French defense, and hopefully we can hold off the collapse of France. So far, I think the Germans haven't been doing that great. And I mean, you can say dice rolls are at fault or whatever, but abstractly you could say that. But thematically, the French and the British have just been setting up their defense well and withdrawing when they need to, rather than losing units, and keeping just enough resources available to keep these air wings flying. So that's been a huge help. We've got four air wings on the western side, French and British, versus 2 air wings on the Axis side. So that's been a major factor in holding off the German invasion. Oh, also, just a reminder, yes, that Finland did join the Axis as a result of a breakdown of political negotiations with the Soviet Union. Once, I guess, the Finnish didn't feel like very great about having Karelia occupied by the Soviets, so they decided to join the Axis. It's the end, so let's say goodbye for now and tune in later. We'll have another video. Maybe I'll change the format slightly. Not so. I don't feel like I want to have such a microscope on the proceedings. Certain things I'm going to skip over, like as you notice, I skipped over dice rolls because I don't know, they're kind of boring to film and talk over. So I decided I would just give you the results of the rolls and to further the narrative. So anyway, rambling away, let's get on with it. So thanks for watching. If you want to like, you want to subscribe, please do so. Stay tuned for more videos. This has been Marks here. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.